Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at Omen PortalCraft, pretty much the same deck we looked at about a week ago. I'm a bit sick still, trying to just come up with some videos for you guys, and Portal seems to be rising again, and I've been using this deck fairly consistently, so it's done a fairly good job so far. It is a little rough if you get stuck in a blood matchup with a dead draw, but other than that, usually you can cope pretty well. So we are just going to get right into it and take a look. I am hoping by the time, of course, some of these videos come out for you guys, I will be mostly over this, but at this stage, definitely not. That's what happens when a cold goes from what you think is a cold to an upper respiratory infection, so it's always a lot of fun. So pretty straight up opening hand, wind up, the gear turner. Not too bad at all. I actually don't mind going for the initial wind-up and then going for a follow-up wind-up, just to generate extra puppets. Maisha's probably going to be our finisher for this game, since we don't have Omen in our hand this time round. And Shadow's not too bad to deal with usually. So I decided to go for the Disciple, as I thought that was going to be my strongest play. Turns out it definitely wasn't a bad option, since I can quite easily go for a freed up turn and wipe out the 2-2. Now I was definitely trying to go for Omen as much as I could there, trying to get it out by 5, so I actually had a decent turn 5 Evo play. Fortunately, that's not always the option. There aren't many mechs in this deck though, although it still does take good advantage of the Magna quite well. Just using these search cards plus the mecha wings can easily generate anywhere between 4 to 6 pretty quickly, which is always good. That's usually what I find on my average, is somewhere between 4 and 6 mech cards. Sometimes of course more, maximum I'm pretty sure you can actually go pretty far if you went for the full 8 played mecha wings, but most of the time you want to be able to get at least 4 damage. So we don't have anything in the way of a turn 7 play, but the Mecha Wing Angel and the Marionette Lad do at least round out the turn nicely, with a pretty decent board state now. Angelic Smite was a good option from our opponent though, and we finally get to see Omen of Destruction. At least Omen of Destruction here, if we wanted to put an Evo on it, wouldn't be so bad. But that might not be the play we want to go for. Although thinking back to it, it's probably what I should have went for. Since honestly I think it would have been the better option to have gone for overall, but I didn't want to clog my hand up. I think we would have actually been reasonably close to clogging our hand up. Plus at this point we're so close to the Maisha win condition that it's not really a big deal. Pushing these followers is probably going to end up being more important, since it generates a lot more value. Plagued City, now this is one I didn't want to see. That's unfortunately pretty crippling. At least Resonant Heart works pretty well, since all our puppets actually get turned into 2-2 zombies, giving them a fairly decent value. That's why I did go for that play. A full board of those is definitely what I want. Not so lucky though. Spectral Cascade kind of destroying us right here, allowing them to easily go for their path. Now we do need to take all these out and try and set up for our Maisha next turn. Since I couldn't play Maisha that turn, it would have just got instantly transformed into a zombie. But next turn, since now there's no Plagued City, I should be okay. And it looks like our opponent couldn't come up with any way to counter that, which leaves us with the perfect Maisha play for a pretty solid, at this point, I think, 26 damage. We definitely had a lot of follower destruction there. 22 followers destroyed. Next up is Portal versus Rune. Now, this matchup I think isn't as great overall, but isn't too bad. Rune is another class that actually isn't too bad to deal with when you're using Omen Portal, in particular focusing on the Puppet engine. A lot of people like the Artifact engine quite a bit. I haven't messed around with artifacts too much lately, although I do have plans to actually do an artifact video reasonably soon, probably hopefully once I get a little bit better. And hopefully before the mini expansion, which we're guessing won't be too far away. It'll probably be around the 20th, so that should be coming up reasonably close. So we did get the Omens. 2 Omens did allow us to early play 1, which we're not actually too worried about. Plus, it does create a really nice body, since basically whatever they put into this now is going to be pretty crippled. So trading this follower here definitely is going to hurt. We got some really good value, especially since we can immediately play out our other Omen. We're definitely focusing on an Omen win condition this time around, since of course that's going to be the easiest way to go for it, since we're already super early set up with stuff going. The only thing now is handling next turn properly. So Hoverboard Mercenary into Hoverboard Mercenary isn't too bad as far as getting cards. It's going to generate good Magna value later on. And I decided to spend my extra Evo instead of holding it for Maisha, since I definitely know what I want to focus on here, and the extra draw and the extra puppets will definitely help us in the Rune matchup. It's definitely going to have some more value for me. The Techno Lord play, definitely a good one, but not a great spread of damage. And we are actually pretty well set up here to go for just straight up face damage while also decreasing destruction in white, so we can play it reasonably cheap along with the Disciple of Destruction for the extra draw. It actually ended up being an overall really good turn. We can actually even go for Destruction in black next turn if we want to, provided of course things are destroyed, which realistically isn't very hard. Once you see a couple of trades come in, so we got a couple of puppets traded in. We'll bring our destruction down if we want to use it, although I would like to wipe this board, so I did decide to go for the Magna Giant. Probably could have handled that better, honestly. I could have probably just went for the puppet play with the Joy of Destruction play and almost wiped the board, but I would have at least had black set up then, which I do feel like would have been better. So I could have made that turn a little easier and had black already set up, which definitely would have saved us any potential hassle. So it's pretty much anything they play after that would instantly be destroyed. And now I don't really have any way to deal with anything other than just playing potentially Destruction in black and Magna Giants. It's the only 2 cards that will really make any difference here. This is how Magna Giant isn't exactly a high damage follower right now. It's definitely very mediocre. But we at least got Destruction in black out, which of course pretty much secures us the game. If they don't Angelic Smite it, we pretty much win. So they're going to lose everything on their board, they're going to take 10 damage, we're going to heal for 2, and we are pretty much game over at this point. Because now, even if they manage to get the Angelic Smite, or manage to come up with some other way, they have to do a double Marionette Lad, which is definitely not a spot you want to be in. And with Destructive Refrain, we've actually got a guaranteed clear no matter what, so that's even better at that point. Because clearing both of these amulets and the 4/4s, nearly impossible for Rune. So while this may not be the best PortalCraft deck that is around, it's definitely more than capable of handling itself, while also remaining reasonably consistent, I would say. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a word. Consistent would be the word to go for right now. It does its job, it gets things done, it's not too bad to play, and it's fairly manageable. A lot of the cards are also pretty repurposable in other decks at the moment, since all of them are quite popular. Both Omen Destruction, I think Magna Giant are very popular cards for Artifact. Even I've seen Artifacts running Zwei as just a pretty much beat stick card, since it is good on its own. With its Fanfare for Puppets and Victoria Evo, it's actually an all-round good card. So you guys, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Till next time guys, see ya.